It's time for another live game, and what I got for you today is a Zerg vs Terran played on Proxima Station Alley, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, the last ZVT live game that I did was also on Proxima. Regardless though, let's play a bit of a different strategy. I've been doing quite a bit of Hydra openers actually ever since. I'll go ahead and link that previous video down below in the description of this one in case you're interested. I decided to go for a Zergling Bane kind of composition, which is like a new school army. Something that we haven't really seen all too much of just yet. But ever since then, I've been having a lot more success with it. Regardless though, I do still think that I prefer the Mutalisk, and in particular the 2-2-1 timing attack. And what I mean with that is the +1 attack on the Mutalisk, and then the +2/+2 for the Zerglings and the Banelings. Now, of course, it does require the game to get to that point. I actually just tried recording a live game as well. That was also a Zerg vs Terran, and I'm not gonna lie, my opponents, they've not been very nice to me. I've had 2 in a row. One of them decided to proxy Reaper rush me, and the other one decided to proxy Bunker rush me. It has been an aggressive couple of games. So we'll see what this opponent has got for us in store right now. I did end up beating one of the cheesers, by the way, so that felt pretty good. But to be fair, those games are really short and generally speaking not all too exciting, because I mean, well, hey, it's one player making a lot of stuff, trying to put all of his eggs in one basket, and if it doesn't work out, he's basically dead. Regardless though, of course, as always, we'll be building up a big economy here in the earlier stages of the game. ZVT is very much so about the game of drones. You need to make sure to get more workers out than your opponent, and if you manage to do so, you're going to be able to start mining a lot more resources, which of course has the end result of you just simply being able to outproduce your opponent. And really, that's what we're looking for. We're trying to take as little damage as we can while, you know, scouting out what my opponent has got in store. And, you know, we first off need to figure out what kind of opening he is going for. So, he's probably going for a quick command center. That one would not be all too uncommon. But I do need to figure out what his follow-up is, right? So, I believe I just saw a Reaper move past my Overlord, judging by the speed of that unit. Gonna be able to start up my Zergling speed here as well. Let's check the top of the ramp. So, we see a reactor. No factory just yet. I would like to see one of those as well if that turns out to be a thing. Not seeing one just yet, though. All is good. Is he gonna add one on right now? He is. That doesn't necessarily... Oh, that was unlucky by me. I did get bounced in the wrong direction there. Could have saved the drone's life. That drone had a family, but it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, now we know that it's going to be a reactored Hellion opener or a marine-based one. And in both scenarios, we can respond quite similarly. We can respond in a similar fashion, in the way that we just simply have to make sure we don't take any unnecessary losses in the early game, and we start making units at the correct timing. We can poke in with the second Overlord as well, just to see what roughly is going on. And I'll go ahead and take a third base here really early as well, just because I've got a pretty easy base here to take. I've got a pretty easy one to pick up here on Proxima Station Alley. I like having the quicker third here, if I can make that work. So far, it looks like my opponent is not going to pressure me super aggressively here in the early game. So I think we are in for a treat. Alright, judging by his opponent, or by my opponent right now, and the fact that he hasn't moved that thing, it is indeed going to be a 16 Marine drop here to start things off. So the 16 Marine drop is one of the most classic builds in Zerg vs Terran in particular. It's a very good build because it basically allows you to both pressure your opponent while still dealing a lot of damage on the other side of the map, and on top of that you can transition towards the third command center very easily. There's a few more transitions that we need to keep in mind here, but the primary thing to know when you are playing against this build and you recognize that this is going on, and you can see so by the two barracks, and then also you know, the reactor right there on the factory, which will be switched over with the starport. Anyway, the one thing to keep in mind to try and stop this is that we need to start making units at the correct timing. But until 4.5 minutes, so 4 minutes and 30 seconds, I'm just simply going to start making non-stop drones. That's basically my main goal here. Non-stop drones. Trying to make sure that I can connect my bases with creep here as well. The reason for that is that I can obviously use my units, or my queens as well, for the defense once it turns out to be a necessity. And I'm actually going to add on some more ones here as well, or some extras, just because I can. But very shortly, I'm going to start adding on the double evolution chamber, 4.5 minutes in the game, remember? And right now, I'm going to start making only units. Only units from here on out. So notice, I've got a stupid amount of income already. A lot of income here already. I'm going to be capable of getting a lot of units out. Now, as long as we don't take any critical losses from my opponent's push, which is going to land about 5 minutes and 10 seconds to 5 minutes and 30 seconds, depending on how well we executed it, we're going to be in a great position to, you know, take this early game lead and run away with it. Now, he's already here, actually. He's very quick. Very nicely executed. Usually it doesn't hit any later, or usually it hits quite a bit later. He's actually decided to go with less Marines than is absolutely normal. I am adding on as much here as I can. Well executed by him, though. I did not quite expect him to get on this side of the map just yet. As long as we don't lose too much, we're going to be in an okay position. Okay. It's all fine that that thing wasn't researching anything. And even though my opponent committed a lot right there into that attack, and he lost a bunch of stuff, lost one of the medevacts, and that's actually a rather big deal. I haven't really lost any eco, other than a little bit of mining time, right? Now, I, of course, am going to have to add on a couple of units back into this engagement as well. Did end up losing one of the creep tumors as well, but by no stretch of the imagination are we out of this just yet. So this is one of the variations right here that my opponent is going for. That does not include... a quick follow-up. Instead, he goes for the third barracks, or the third drop instead. And this is all fine and dandy if you can throw the Zerg opponent off guard, right? That's what he's looking for. He's trying to throw me off guard. And as long as I can keep spending my money, and I can keep making sure that I don't lose any economy, I'm going to be in a pretty solid position there. Even though I'm losing queens, and even though I've lost a bunch of stuff here. Did end up making a spore there just because I know it's going to be helpful. And once more, we haven't really lost anything all too interesting there. Very nice. I think we're going to have to split up some of our units once again. I'm also going to get some Banes here, just in case. Trying to make sure that I got all of the Queens hotkeyed as well, which I feel like I haven't done very well just yet. Is there even a third base down just yet? No, it doesn't look like it. So what I'm going to do is actually start up my Baneling speed upgrade. But judging by the fact that he doesn't have a third yet, I think I'm better off by not making my Spire just yet. I was going to get a Spire already, but I think I'm better off not doing that. Because there's a chance he's just going to do a 2-base all-in. Alright, we're done making eco. I've got 3 bases fully saturated. So unless he's got a base at the gold, which I'm going to double check real quick, I highly doubt he's going to be able to match my economy here. Very nice. Let's get ourselves a 4th. Nope, no gold base. And we'll just make units. I'm gonna get Overlord speed. I'm gonna get an Overseer here as well. We'll get 2 just because we can. And I'm morphing in Banelings. He's gonna go for some sort of pressure here. It's a 2-base all in here, guaranteed. If he still has not got it landed at 7.5 minutes, something fishy is going on here. And we know it. I can go ahead and make a Spire just as a follow-up, I suppose. And if I can get some units out, that would be great. But something here is not quite right. Okay, so the 3rd CC is finally floating over. I'm assuming he's gonna go for a push here. If not, we'll push him very shortly. He's losing a lot of eco here. Just by simply having that base late. I mean, you're not gonna match the Zerg that has got, you know, 50% more economy than you, right? And yes, that's 50%. 2 bases compared to 3. I've seen a lot of people argue, no, Lowko, that's 33%. No, it's really not. What we are gonna do, though, is shut down this drop. Oh, well, thank you very much, my man. Thank you, Malango. Thank you for all the stuff. And here is a push, apparently. But luckily for me, I did have a lot of units there already ready to defend against it. Now, there is a Widow Mine there, which is one thing to keep in mind. But we're gonna be able to stop this very nicely. And I think we're gonna go straight for a counterattack as well, right after this shenanigans shuts down. Okay, he's actually leaving. Gonna follow this up with Mutas. So this is essentially that 1-1-2 timing attack that I was talking about previously. Except that my Mutas are a little late to the party. Okay. Oh, that hurt. Okay, running everything that I've got across right now. Okay. We'll go for a gold. And we'll go for an infestation pit. And you know what? I think we're gonna go for a push here. And And just by the sheer amount of stuff that we ended up creating, right? Because of our third base being so much quicker than my opponent, he's just not going to be able to hold on. Well, he may be able to hold on, but just barely, right? We're doing so much damage here that my opponent will get at least a substantial amount of his stuff killed. And we're just trying to kill as much eco here as we can, right? Notice I've already set up for a transition towards the hive. I still got a huge amount of things happening here. We're going to start up our hive here ASAP. I'm also going to get a macro hatchery just because we can. I'm trying to close this one out, but I don't know if it's going to happen. He's still got a lot of units, but we have killed a lot of stuff just now ourselves. Okay, very nice. Let's transfer some workers towards that gold that we'll finish up here in just a second. And he is desperately trying to hold on with the army that he's got. But this is the power of macro. This is the game of drones, right? If you play the game of drones, you win or you die. If you manage to make a lot of stuff, more so than your opponent, eventually he's gonna have to be shut down. Now, it does look like it's not gonna happen just yet, and that's alright. We've got a follow-up plant. We've got a whole lot of things still happening. We've got everything going in our favor right now. We'll have to give him a chance here. I'll go ahead and set up the pathogen glands just because we can. I'll settle in with some more workers. I just made a whole bunch of them. I've currently got 82. So that is going to be a little more than I am bargaining for. So that does mean that I'm going to build up some static defense over on this side as well. Let's get some safety banelings. And we'll be able to transition here quite nicely. Now, my opponent actually did hold on, so kudos for him. I actually assumed that just by the power of macro, I was going to be able to bust my way through there. But he had some solid detonations right there on the Widow Mines. And that, of course, does make it a lot more Terran friendly. But we still got a lot of things going in our favor. So there's no base up here yet, which is nice. There's no gold base up for him either, which is nice. That kind of means that he has to go for some sort of 2-base all-in. Oh, well, sadly, I'm afraid that these links... Or 3-base push, rather. I'm afraid that these links will have to die. Let's get the Ultra Cavern. Let's saturate these gases. Ooh, I hear that. I was gonna say, what's that little sound right there? Very good.
We require more Vespine gas. Mineral field depleted.
I heard you nibble. Got infestors. And that is all she wrote. That fungal growth absolutely sealed the deal. Drones, though, they're good units. They're easily the best unit that Zerg has. If you manage to figure out how many workers you can get away with, and you can sort of read what's going on in the game by just simply losing a lot. I mean, a lot of people ask, hey, look, how have you learned to, like, read the strategies from your opponent? Honestly, I've just been losing a lot. I've lost a ton of games while playing StarCraft 2, and I try and not make the same losses over and over, or I try not to make the same mistakes over and over and over again, so I don't, you know, take the same losses every time as well. So notice right here, right? My opponent's push was really quick. Let's actually rewind real quick, because I was a little confused there. You guys have seen me defend Zerg vs Terran pushes like this 100 times before. Interestingly enough, he came out with the Metavax really quickly. So he actually decided to go for a less, like 1 Marine less, and he's got an additional Reaper here instead. He still got himself that Widow Mine as well, so it's not like he was really missing out or cutting out all too much here, interestingly enough. Now, here's the thing, right? So he did this really nice push, right? He did this really nice push. I get in there, I did lose a couple of workers, but when we compare this afterwards, it's still 42 workers in favor of, you know, 36, I guess. But on top of that, I can continue making drones here. I can continue making drones, because I know he's not going to push. I know he's not going to be able to do a whole lot, so I'm just droning. I'm just making drones. I'm just making workers, and this is where we really secured that lead. I mean, the fungal, it was pretty. I don't want to compliment my own play that much, right? Because I make plenty of mistakes here. I mean, look at my minerals right now. This is not necessary, in particular when you got 26 larvae. I can spend it here at any moment, though, but I talk bad about my own style and my own games all too much already. So whenever I've been trying, people in the stream have been telling me I talk bad about my own games a lot. So I've been trying to talk a little bit more positively about my own games every now and then as well. So while this Fungal was nice, right? I do agree this was a nice Fungal. It wasn't really the winning victory. Really? You know what the victors in this game were? These little buggers right here. These little crab-like creatures that harvest the minerals. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this game. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. And other than that, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you in the next one.